Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chula Vista, California, as we talk about our city of the day. Yes, down here in SoCal, right next to the city of San Diego and the U.S.-Mexican border, we got Chula Vista, which means beautiful views in Spanish. And we got beautiful views of Tropical Storm K right now across Southern California, where we've been dealing with showers in those rain bands coming off of K all afternoon and then tonight, and as well for your Saturday before K becomes a thing of the past and dissipates into an extra tropical system. But in the meantime, Southern California is going to be dealing with those outer rain bands of Tropical Storm K and could also see some gusts of winds. So there will be periods of time where it will seem like a tropical storm is actually hitting Southern California. But rest assured, Tropical Storm K is going to meander to the west a little bit and start to dissipate before it may circle back and come on shore again across northern Mexico next week. So let's talk about the current conditions across Chula Vista. We're at 73 degrees under cloudy skies with some scattered showers and thunderstorms right now. You'll see those temperatures in the mid 80s tomorrow and the low 80s for your Sunday with more clouds and those showers and storms from the tropical storm as well. There's also a little bit of monsoon moisture mixed up in that also. And we have our live radar out there across Southern California where you can see some of those showers and thunderstorms. Here we are. We talk about our weather today, and what we're seeing for the weather today is going to be our live national radar, and we have a nice frontal boundary across the northern tier of the nation that's been bringing rain showers all day across the state of Minnesota and the upper Mississippi Valley down through portions of the Dakotas and Nebraska. You've been seeing those showers and thunderstorms today and much cooler temperatures. We saw temperatures in the 60s with cloudy skies, and there's our tropical storm across the southwest and some of its associated rainfall and more heavy rain and scattered storms across the Gulf Coast down here from Mississippi to Florida and over into South Carolina. Dry weather in the Northeast and the Pacific Northwest for your Friday. Here we are as we take a look at our current temperatures. And the warm spot of the nation is going to be across the southwest down there where we're seeing those temperatures, those 90s out there. We got a lot of clouds, a lot of monsoon moisture, also the moisture from the tropical storm. The only place where we're seeing triple digits is in portions of Northern California where it's about 101 degrees in Eureka today. So that's the only place where it's exceptionally hot. But we saw those 90s through the Central Valley, and we're seeing 90s across the desert Southwest. We have our 80s across the state of Texas today, so we're seeing nice weather across the state of Texas, and we have our 70s and lower 80s across the Northeast. But look at these 50s and 60s across Minnesota and into Wisconsin, as well as portions of the upper peninsula of Michigan. I always have to think before I say that because sometimes it's kind of hard to get it all out. But we do have that much cooler weather across the upper Mississippi Valley through the northern plains. So we got that cooler weather that's going to be dropping down with this cold front. And in fact, some of that cooler weather is going to even be moving into the state of Texas as we move forward through the weekend. And we'll take a look at all of that good stuff as we work our way through this weather forecast. Now, here we go as we talk about those watches and hazards. And we have our flood advisories out here on the west. So out in the California, we have our potential there for flooding and flash flooding in Southern California. And we have our excessive heat watch through Central and Northern California. And also a red flag advisory across portions of the Pacific Northwest. Even though the temperatures are a little bit cooler, it's still a lot of wind out there. So we have our red flag that's going to continue. And there's even going to be some frost and freeze warnings through portions of Wyoming and even in Montana. This one is not really quite updated, but there's a couple of freeze watches in place across portions of Montana and Wyoming, and even in portions of the western Dakotas, there is a frost advisory in place for those regions tonight. So definitely some cooler weather, some fall, and even signs of winter. So we're going to be talking about snow pretty soon, so get ready. Get ready. It's September. Get October. We're going to be seeing some snow through portions of the northern Rockies as we move on through time here. So now let's take a look at Saturday's upper air pattern. There's our tropical depression out there off the coast of California, spinning around, whirling in those showers and thunderstorms, and maybe even some breezes from time to time. So there's our tropical storm that's going to be affecting the weather across the west coast. And we have a nice trough across the middle section of the nation. Our western ridge is going to start to build in from the west on your Saturday. So we're going to start to see temperatures start to rise again across the Pacific Northwest as we may get into another extended heat wave across the northwestern section of the country. But we're going to be seeing a significant cool down across the nation's midsection. And we got this energy associated with this guy as well. So we're seeing showers and thunderstorms through portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, as well as through Iowa and Nebraska. You're going to be seeing those showers and thunderstorms again tomorrow for your Saturday, as this front kind of slowly makes its way to the east. But we have a nice little bit of ridging in the east coast. We haven't seen a lot of ridging in the east. It's been a pretty persistent northwesterly flow across the northeast. So you've had a relatively mild summer with occasional impulses of heat ahead of frontal boundaries that kind of come your way. But you're going to be seeing a nice warm up across the northeast as we move through this weekend ahead of this guy. So as we move on to Sunday, now our tropical system remains out there, but it won't be a tropical system, but it will be post-tropical storm K, but it's going to be not even a depression anymore, just a tropical disturbance. An area of low pressure circulation out there off the southwest coast of Southern California, and it could still spread a little bit of rain across the Southland, but certainly nothing heavy. But we have our deepening trough here. Now this has a positive tilt, and because of that, we won't see much in the way of severe weather out of this guy, but there's enough for some showers and thunderstorms and a lot of cool rain. We saw a lot of cool rain today, no severe weather. I didn't hear much thunder today, a little bit, but we just saw a nice gentle rain today. So this is going to be a very fall-like system as this guy moves on off to the east there. And that is a look at your Saturday and Sunday upper air pattern. Now as we take a look at our precipitable water. Now precipitable water is the amount of moisture that you can squeeze out the atmosphere if you take a wet sponge and squeeze it, and the water that comes out, but you get to the point you can't get any more water. That's where precipitable water is. That's all the available water in the atmosphere that is able to squeeze out in a storm. And we're looking at a lot of places along the Gulf Coast here and across the southeast where we can see as much as 2.5 to 3 inches of rain here. So you see that potential for heavy rain across the southeast and again across the southwest. Where some places here, there's a few spots deep in here, if you look closely, where you can pick up to 6 to 10 inches of rain. So definitely the potential for some heavy rain across the southwest and to Southern California and southwestern Arizona out there with that moisture from Tropical Storm K. And here we are, if you look at your Sunday, the tropical storm influence will continue across the southwest. It's going to kind of drop a little bit to the south, back over more towards Mexico before eventually turning back towards the east again. I don't anticipate it redeveloping. Once it's gone, that's it. But its circulation will continue to kind of hover around down there across the Baja California for the next several days, and we're going to continue to see that potential for rain here across the eastern half of the nation in the southeast and in the Florida. But if you look along the southeast coast here, through from portions of Maryland and Virginia down through eastern North Carolina, South Carolina, southeastern Georgia, and central Florida, this is all about 2 inches of rainfall. So that potential there for heavy rain that could lead to some flooding for your Sunday. Here, here we are with a look at Tropical Storm K on the satellite. This is the satellite view of Tropical Storm K down there off the coast of Southern California. We do have Earl in the Atlantic, and there's a couple other tropical waves that we're watching, but we're not going to go deep into those because they're not going to affect the United States in any way, shape, or form. This is the only one that's kind of, sort of affecting the United States. I'm not worrying about Earl and Danielle is a thing of the past. And these other two tropical waves are very disorganized and have little to no chance of further development. Their potential for development is 10% or less. So I'm not worrying about those yet. We're going to wait till they move a little bit further out across the Atlantic, see what happens with them 2 or 3 days down the line here, or maybe even 4 days down the line. But it's not looking too promising for those guys, as the Atlantic has had a strong cap over the atmosphere this summer, so we haven't seen a lot of tropical activity, partly because of the dust that's been coming off of the Sahara and the very active frontal boundaries and systems across the southeastern U.S. The southern jet stream has been very strong across the southeastern U.S. and along the Gulf Coast. So it's been making a lot of wind shear, which tropical systems don't like because shearing kind of tears them apart. They can't really get organized when there's a lot of shear in their environment. So we haven't seen a lot in the way of tropical weather this summer, even though these folks at the National Hurricane Center refuses to acknowledge a very below average hurricane season this year. I don't really think that we're going to see any more than maybe 2 or 3 named storms for the rest of this hurricane season, but they still seem to think that we're going to be above average. So I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a meteorology student. They're the professionals. Maybe they know something that I don't. But anyway, so let's talk about the information from Tropical Storm K. Now, as the center of K passes, it's going to be just offshore with heavy rain and likely the result in flash flooding, including possible landslides across the mainland, northwestern Mexico through Saturday morning, and also some flash flooding through Southern California. This is the projected path of K. You see it kind of moves off to the northwest, but then it kind of circles back a little bit. It decides that maybe it may want to have another little discussion with Mexico. But once you get past that, I mean, there's a possibility it could redevelop and then come onshore across the midsection of Baja California. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But it's certainly going to be a player in that region for at least the next week or so as far as the weather there is concerned. And here we are with your regional forecast. And that regional forecast is going to continue with that, again, that rainfall across Southern California. We could be seeing up to 6 inches of rain. That's going to definitely lead to some flooding and landslides across the Southland. They're not used to this much of rain this time of the year. So that's a lot of rain even in the winter. So they're certainly not used to that in the summer or late summer here. So that's Tropical Storm K out there. That's going to be not tropical after tomorrow. Here's that heavy rain across the southeast. We have these old frontal boundaries. These fronts have been here for weeks now. It's been some type of a front right here and maybe a short wave embedded along these guys. And those short waves are like ripples in the atmosphere. They kind of get things mixed up and stirred up and get those clouds to puff up and get those thunderstorms. They enhance the rainfall that will already take place. So you get heavier rainfall. So you get issues like this where you could be dealing with some flooding and flash flooding across the southeast through the Carolinas for your Saturday. So again, we have this nice front that's crosses the nation's midsection from the Great Lakes down through the central and southern plains over toward the Four Corners. And that frontal boundary is going to cool things off here as we saw on your Friday. But we're going to see those 60s and 70s as we move into your Saturday, and we're going to be seeing some showers and thunderstorms as well, and cooler weather. So that's good news for a lot of folks. And here we are as we take a look at Sunday. Now, Sunday, that heavy rain access, because we have a short wave here, and it kind of moves a little bit up the coast toward the mid-Atlantic states. So DC, Philadelphia, Baltimore, you guys will be under the gun for heavy rain, as well as Charlotte. Charlotte is going to get in some of that heavy rain as well for your Saturday, and we can see some heavy rain through portions of the upper Mississippi Valley and into the Great Lakes. So we got Wisconsin and western Michigan and Lake Michigan that could pick up some heavy rainfall that can lead to a little bit of flash flooding. So we're going to be seeing some thunderstorms out that way for your Sunday. So that cold front doesn't move very much further to the east, but it does drop a little bit further to the south, and it's now traversing the state of Texas. So we're going to start to see cooler weather across North Texas, all the way into the Rockies and over toward the Pacific Northwest. So we're going to be seeing things cool off drastically across the northern quarter of the nation as we move into Sunday. So certainly a welcome sight to folks in the Pacific Northwest to see cooler weather, as it's been unusually hot across the Northwest for like a month or so. So it's very unusual, and the drought conditions will continue, unfortunately, but at least it will be cooler. So here we are as we talk about those temperatures, and here we are as we talk about those temperatures that will be in the 80s and 90s across the state of Texas for your Saturday. So we're seeing a little bit nicer conditions across Texas. It's going to be a little bit warm on the warm side until that front starts to drop down, and we'll also see some 90s down here across South Florida. But we have those 70s and 80s in the Northeast, maybe a couple of 90s. It's going to warm up a little bit as this front approaches, because you get that southwesterly flow. That return flow is called out ahead of the front. So as the front approaches, that southerly flow is going to increase. So it could get a little breezy to even maybe a little bit windy as it moves up to the east and pulls up that warm air from the south. So we are going to see temperatures rise in the Northeast before they take a very dramatic cool down, and we can start to see some 60s and 50s through portions of the Northeast when we get to Monday. But until then, Saturday and Sunday, you're going to see things get a little bit warm across the Northeast, but much cooler here behind the front. So across the northern tier of the nation, from Minnesota through the high plains of the Dakotas, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington, we're going to see things a little bit cooler, but you will see those temperatures on the interior deserts of Oregon and Washington. And I did call them deserts because they're kind of sort of semi-desert or desert or high plain that's behind on the backside of the Cascades. So those semi-arid plains will see warmer weather, so you're going to be seeing temperatures in the 80s and 90s as it will start to warm up again as that ridge starts to build back in from the west. So we have a little bit of a trough in this region, but to the west, our ridge starts to build back in, and that heat will return across the Pacific Northwest. But until late in the day tomorrow, it is a little bit cooler for now across the Northwest. And as we take a look at your Sunday, again, the warming across the west, we're seeing those 90s, maybe a couple of triple digits here and there through portions of California, and we're seeing those triple digits across southwestern Arizona and eastern California, where we're seeing it be 101 in Phoenix for your Sunday. And you see how it's starting to get cooler across Texas. We're seeing 70s here across the state of Texas. Look at these 70s and low 80s, and the only 90s will cross far southeast Texas, where the front has not crossed over yet. So on the backside of that front, you're going to start to see things cool off, and we're going to be seeing those 80s and 90s across the southeast, and those 80s going up through the northeast as well until our front passes by and cool you guys off. So a first good shot of spring is going to be coming through the eastern half of the nation as we move towards your Monday and Tuesday of next week. So hang in there for that a little bit, guys. You may get a little bit of wet beforehand and a little warm, then a wet, and then cooler. So the reward will be at the end, that cooler weather. So that is a look at the weather forecast for this weekend. That's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching me today. I will be back tomorrow, and I think on Sunday we will have a bit of an extended forecast to take a look at the 7 days ahead, and we may even do a video where we talk about this fall ahead, what the fall climate might look like this year for 2022, as this was the 4th warmest summer on record. Mr. G here, guys. Thanks for watching. See you guys all in the next video. Oh, and check out my new microphone I'm going to have too. I'm going to finally get a lapel mic so I don't sound so echoey because I'm far away from the camera, which has the built-in mic that I'm using. So until then, guys, get on out of here. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.